Hello and welcome to this lecture. We'll go into data storytelling, and in this we'll work with lib and creating graphs and visuals to make the story come out. There's several techniques that you should be aware of in data storytelling. First, the theory about what it is and how the visuals can become better using data storytelling. The theory comes from this book, Storytelling with Data from Cole Nussbaumer Knaflic. And I truly recommend that book in case you want to read more and learn more about data storytelling. So she has done all the visualization using Excel, but actually you can use whatever software you want. So here in this lecture, I will use matplotlib. So see you in Visual Studio. So I'm inside of Visual Studio Code, and the first thing I've done is creating a clean virtual environment, and I've activated this virtual environment. So now when I activated it, it's time to install some packages. So uv pip install. I need ipykernel because I will work with in Jupyter Notebook. I need pandas to work with data frames, and I need matplotlib, of course. So installing this, and then let's create our Jupyter Notebook. So data, or actually not in virtual environment, outside. So here data storytelling .ipin b like this, and we'll create a new markdown here, data storytelling, and I will change my Python environment like this, and then I will zoom in a little bit like this. Okay, now I zoomed in, I clear the terminal, and basically I actually need some data. So let's move on to the browser here. And in the browser, we have this page here, Global Monitoring Laboratory, where we'll get the CO2 data. So here we'll pick the annual mean data. So download this one. So I have downloaded it, and I will place it in here. So now I have pasted in the data. So here the data is called CO2 and mean underscore MLO.csv. If I look into this data, we see there's a lot of text here explaining the data. And then we go down here and we start to see the actual data. Okay, so here I will go, and you can see there's a lot of rows that we don't need. So we need to skip some rows. So let's start with importing pandas. I'll change this to Python. I'll increase it one more time and remove this one. So import pandas as PD. I'll actually remove the terminal as well. And then we'll read this in. df annual equals to pd.read CSV. And this is called, we can see it here, CO2 and mean MLO.csv. So if I run this one, df annual.head, you can see first of all that we need to skip some rows. You can see parse error, right? So we see how many rows we need to skip. 43. Okay, let's do that. Skip rows equals to 43. Okay, and perfectly. Now I've gotten the data. So when I've gotten data, I can just do the df.input to check if we have any nulls. Okay, you can see 65 non-null, 65 non-null. Okay, perfect. So let's move on now. And we will start doing a plot. So you can see here we have year, and we have mean, and we have something called UNC. Actually, we will just use year and mean. So it's the mean emissions, basically, in ppms. And in order to find this out, you should read the metadata, which was in the top that we skipped, right? So let's do that. So this may be new to you, that you have a .plot here, and this has to do with the inside of this data frame. And the plot method, it's based on matplotlib. So basically just a wrapper of matplotlib. So you can work with this as if it was a matplotlib plot. But they have made a high-level API so that it is easier to work with it inside of data frames. So basically here df_annual.plot, and here you choose which should be your x-axis. So x equals year and y equals mean, and basically just like that, and you will get a plot. In case you want to plot it normally with matplotlib, then you get the fig, x objects, and then you do x plot, and then you need to do df annual of a year for x and df annual of mean for y. So using data frames plotting API, plot method, it will become much simpler to create a graphic. We could give them some labels. So we can have a Y label. What is this? It's ppm, parts per million. And then we have title equals to CO2 emissions. And I want to have an underscore of this, and I want to have dollar. This makes it into LaTeX, so that then when you do underscore, you get it in what I'm not sure what it's called, but this two down here. Yes. Okay. So perfectly, this is a perfect working graph. You can see it from 1960 and then up to, I think, 2024. We can see the CO2 going up, unfortunately. Okay, and you can see there's a wrapper, the wrapper that is written here, access object, but actually I don't want to show that, so I will just do semicolon here. And you can see there's nothing to show here. Perfect. Okay, I will move on to a new code here. And let's do like this. I will read in another data set, which has, I will show it to you here. This one. So this link, let's see. Okay, now it should be possible to open, and I will provide the link in the video so that you can see it directly. So I go into here, and this is a homepage which shows the CO2 emissions. And here you can see the CO2 emissions by country. And here are different countries, and you can see by sector, and you can see global fossil CO2 emissions by year. So this is a homepage with a lot of CO2 emission data. So what I want to do is actually I want to scrape this data using pandas. By scraping means that we will take this table from this web page and put it into a pandas data frame using pandas. Okay. How to do this? This may be new to you as well, but it's not like it is important, but the most important part of this lecture is actually graphics. So you can see it as if you had the CSV files. So basically we do like this. So df country equals to pd.readhtml. And I want to place this home page here. So I will copy this one, and I will put it here. And then I will do like this. I will write df country, module not found. Why is it not found? Yes, it needs something called lxml. So then let's install this one. So source.ven bin activate. uv pip install lxml. Okay, so now I installed it. And if I run this one, it should work. Yes. So basically this is a list. So if I do length of this one, you can see there's a list of 2. And what if I run this one now, you see the list of a data frame. And then there's another data frame. So 2 different data frames. And what I want is, I want this first data frame, which gives me the country, CO2 emissions. So if you go into the homepage, you can see this is the one I want, right? So we can see year, fossil CO2. Let's see. Yeah, here you can see CO2 emissions. And you can see the country. Let me see if, so let's try this out. If I take the zeroth index, you can see what I get. I get country, and I get CO2 emissions. If I take 1, then you can see year post CO2 emissions. Well, actually, I'm sorry. I meant I wanted to have the first one. So I wanted to have the different countries and the CO2 emissions. And also you can see that here's the index, and here's some kind of index which starts with 1. So actually I will do index col equals 0. So this makes this into the index so that we don't get the 2 indices. Okay, now I've gotten, so this is quite cool. We have scraped the data from this homepage. And we have scraped the table and put it into a data frame, which is called df country now. So I can do df country.head, and you can see the top of the countries, and we can do, I'll do df country equals to df country dot rename. I will rename this share of world. I'll copy this here. I'll rename this one into world percentage. And I will do axis equals 1. So if I do axis equals 0, it will take the rows. Axis equals 1, take the columns. So if I now run df_country.head, you can see that, yes, it changed, or it didn't change actually. Why? Share of world. Let me see. Could it be, let's see, share of world. Let's see, df_country.columns. Yeah, you can see there's two spaces here. So that means that I need to have exactly written as this one. It didn't show here very clearly, but it's actually another space here. So if I run this one, now you see world percentage. So I'll move this one up a little bit, like this. Okay, so what else do I want to do? I want to, in the world percentage, it's in percentage, but I want to remove the percentage because I want to be able to do calculations with this, and I want to make graphs with this world percentage. Then this percentage sign makes it into string, which make it not possible to graph. So let's continue to change this one. So df country of world, let's see, world percentage dot string. And this makes it into this. When using the string method, we can use all the methods that are in string. So dot, what should I do? I can do rstrip, right strip, and I will strip away the percentage sign. And you can see it all disappears. And then I need to change it into float so that I can graph it, right? So now it's in float. And now I need to reassign it to df country of world percentage. So df country.head. Now you can see that, world percentage, perfect. It's in float and the percentage has disappeared. Okay, I did some auto formatting there. Okay, so this was just some data transformation to clean the data. So now let's focus on data points. So what I mean with this is that you will see now. So if we do df country.plot and I want to do a bar. So kind equals to bar, x equals to country, and y equals to world percentage. So now I plot this one. Oh, this is so ugly. It's super crowded. 206 countries and all of their CO2 emissions. Not good, not good. Okay, let's continue. So if I want to focus on the top 10, I can just copy this one. And instead of just plotting everything, I can do .head 10. And now you can see I plot the top 10 countries, the countries with the top CO2 emissions. And you can see China in the top and US in the second. Okay, so this is quite good. We have created a bar chart. And what this storytelling is that you started with plotting everything, and you can see that it's super crowded, and this is not what you want. Maybe you should focus your story so that you plot the top 10 instead to just show how much they contribute to the world in terms of CO2 emissions. Okay, so we have started our storytelling with this, but it's still not good. So there's a lot of things that are not good here. We'll come back to this graph soon. But first, we'll check the first graph here. And this CO2 emissions. So let's try to clear this up. I will copy this code here, and I will go down to the bottom. And I'll create a new one. It's called remove clutter. So let's start with plotting this. First of all, you examine this line chart and you can notice there's some clutter which makes the visual not stand out. Okay, if I just look at this, we have very strong lines here. We have a legend here, and the actual line chart here, you can see it's not standing out. We need to make it stand out more and remove everything else that are unnecessary for the eye. So we want to make it simpler for the eye. Okay, so how to do this? We call this X annual, like this. So X annual, it's this plot. And I want to do X annual dot spines. So these are called spines. Dot set visible equals to false. Oh, much better. And now copy this one, shift alt down, x.spine, set visible false. Run this one. Ah, much cleaner. Now you can directly see that without the top spine and the right spine, you can see the line is getting much clearer. So also, I don't like the legend here. So we can do X annual. And because the legend is far away from the visual, and also it's not very clear. It just says mean. I think it's better to have, if you want to use legend, you can use arrows to point closer to the actual visual. But I will remove it altogether. So X annual dot legend dot set visible false. Okay. So some things to note is that how do I know that this is called spine and how do I know it's called legend? So what you can do is go into your browser and you can search matplotlib anatomy of figure. I love this picture. So here in matplotlib documentation, you can see this is the anatomy of the figure. So you can see this is called a legend. This is called a spine. This is called the title. And then you can see how to control it. So you use x.legend here, x.spines. And this is the figure. So by studying this anatomy of figure, you which thing you want to change. And then when the thing you want to change, just search it. You can search Google or you can just ask large language model how to remove that one or how to change that particular feature. But the most important is that you know which type of feature it's called so that you know what question to ask. Because of this, I knew that it was spines, so then I can search it up and then I can remove the spines. So moving back to Visual Studio Code. So we have removed some clutter. And I'll remove the clutter from the other graph as well. So let's do like this. I will copy this bar chart here. Copy this. Okay, so we have the bar chart. We call this X percentage. So X percentage dot spines top dot set visible false. Remove that one. We do the same with right. And we also remove the legend. So X percentage dot legend dot set visible false. Okay, legend disappeared. Okay, great. So now we have removed some clutter. There are some clutters left, but this is quite good start. And then we have something called attention. I would like to say attention is all you need, but that is a very influential article from 2017 that all the large language models are based on, the transformer models. But this is not what we're going to talk about. Instead, attention is referring to how to make your visuals clearer so that you mark the thing you actually want. And then we have attention. I will copy this from the lecture note here. So here attention is referred to making your visuals clearly mark the thing you want the audience to focus and their attention towards. A way to achieve this is to use color sparingly and in a strategic way. And then we have something called contrast. So basically when you're doing data storytelling, you're taking a lot of ideas from UX and design. In order to make our graph and visuals, we design them in such a way to convey our message. So we use something called contrast here. So we'll be using contrast in order to attract attention. The axis information will have low contrast to the background, while the important information will have higher contrast compared to the background. For the bar chart, contrast will be used to direct the audience towards the top 3 emitters. So this is the story we want to tell. And then you should also have descriptive title and labels. Usually the norm it has been like short title and labels, which are not descriptive enough and doesn't add much information to the visuals. Here we'll use descriptive title that conveys our message. So I'll show you how that works also. So let's continue. So we have these 3 points here: attention, contrast, and descriptive title and labels. So we will continue with our X annual. So X annual equals df annual dot plot X equals to year and Y equals to mean. And this is the plot we had before, right? So I should actually copy, let's see, I'll copy these things here. You can make functions out of it and reuse it, but I copied this here to make it clear so that you can see all the code directly here. Let's see, X annual dot spines. Let's see why it didn't disappear. Oh, it came here. Why? X annual, because I did df plot twice, right? I'll remove this one, like here. Okay, now we can see the plot. So this is basically from before. And I will make it a little bit better here. So line width equals to 4. And now you can see it's thicker, and this will make it clearer, because this is what I mean when I say attention. So by making this thicker, we will get the attention to these lines, or this line chart. However, we need to make these spines and these labels and the ticks, we need to make them fade into the background. So by leveraging some of the contrast. So let's do that. I will make a gray here. So this is a color, which you can put in hexadecimal. You can search up colors using some kind of coloring tools, for example, Adobe Color, to pick the color. So I'll pick a gray one. And let's see, B7 to 80. So this is a gray. And I will set spines. Let's see, spines of left dot set color into gray. And you can see that it becomes a little bit weaker color here. And similar to the bottom one, you can see that it becomes a little bit weaker as well. It has become a little bit weaker, but still not very clear. So I will make thick params. I will make axis equals to bow, colors equals to gray. So this makes all the axes into gray, and you can see now it fades in the background. So now you can see the visual is much clearer here. These are the tick params. It became grayed out. Yes, actually we want to change. I will remove the title and Y label from here. Because I want to make my own Y label, and I want to make my own X label. So let's continue now. X annual dot set Y label. Let's see, set Y label of years from 1959. Okay, so this is a little bit clearer for me than just writing years, because we started from 1959. So I want to make it a little bit clear. And I want to also, let's see, actually this is not the Y label, it should be the X label. Sorry for that. Let's see, set X label, not capital, small one. Yes. So the X label, years from 1959. And I want it to be in the left location. So then I will do comma lock equals to left. And you can see it's also fading out. Good. So I will make a similar one, but now I will make for a Y label, and it's not the years, instead it's the ppm. So I'll do like this, CO2 mole fraction in ppm, so that you know what. Let's see, let's run this one, and actually you need an R, or no, let's see what has happened. Let's see, left is not the valid value for lock. Lock left. All right, because this is Y label, so this one needs to be in top. Okay, so now I have CO2 mole fraction. I need to have another dollar here, and you can see CO2 mole fraction in ppm, and you can see here years from 1959. Okay, great. So now we have started to come somewhere, and we can continue to work on our visual to make it tell the story we want. So now we have used the contrast to make it clearer. We have created a more descriptive Y label, more descriptive X label. So now we'll have a title, X annual dot set title, and I don't need to type all this out. I will copy this from the lecture notes. Oh, I have gray 1 in the lecture note. Actually, it's gray. And you can see the annual mean of CO2 emission measured in Mauna Loa has increased every year since 1959. So all this information I've gotten from the metadata. Okay, so this is quite neat. Now we have a descriptive title as well. So let's see, I have removed the legend. Yeah, I will remove this one. And I'm pretty satisfied with this one. It is quite good now. What you could do is that you can export this as well. Export it into a PNG and you can look at that one. Or otherwise, I'm quite satisfied with this. So I will continue with my bar chart now. Let's see. So I will go up here and I'll copy how far I've come with the bar. So for the bar chart, it looks like this. And what else do we want here? I will put in some variables. So these cells are a little bit long, but note that you can always make it into functions to reuse it. And also in matplotlib, a lot of these styles, you can leverage something called mpl.style. But we won't show it here, but maybe in a future video. But first, let's control this one. So number of countries I want to show is 8. So number of countries. So instead of 10, I'll show 8 of them. And then I will have top emitters equals 3. I'll show the top 3 emitters. And I will tell the story based on this. So I will create some colors, red, comma, gray. And I will have, let's see, I'll copy this here. So by doing this one, you will have red is this red variable and gray is this gray variable. And this is called tuple unpacking of this tuple here. So let's now do like this. So I want to have, let's see, DF country, let's say yes. We will start with doing color equals to colors. And let's see, but we need to have a colors, right? Yeah, color equal to colors, but we need to define a colors. So colors, it is equal to red times top emitter. So this means that we will have 3 red plus gray, which means we will have gray times number countries minus top emitter. So what does this mean? I will actually place this in another cell to show you what it means. Okay, so if I write out colors, so it means that you can see the top 3 are red and the bottom 5 are gray. So how does this work? We have a list and we multiply it using the asterisk operator. And this means that we will have this red times 3 because we have top emitters are 3, right? And then we concatenate it with another list, gray, times 5 in this case. So then we get 5 gray. And now when we have this color, we can put in colors. And if I run this one, you can see that, oh, the top 3 became red and the bottom 5 are gray. Cool, cool. So this is a really good start, but I don't like that these are rotated because it's hard to read. You want to have it horizontally because that's more natural to read. So rotation equals 0. However, this becomes very crowded, right? So let's fix this. We will fix this by doing something like this. Fig equals to x, let's say x percentage. Yeah, actually I called it x country in the lecture note, but it doesn't matter. X percentage dot get figure. And then you can do fig dot set size inches 8,5. And you can see it becomes less crowded. And this is, you can try it out. So 8 is the width and 5 is the height. And also fig.height layout, so that it fits in the box. And I'll decrease this a little bit so you can see the visual. Okay, so we've come far, but we haven't finished yet. So let's do what we did before. We can set X label and Y label. So I will do that. X percentage dot set X label. And I will copy this in so that you don't need to see me type it out. Location equals to left as before. Color equals to gray. So capital gray is the one before. Actually, I've chosen bad conventions here. But you can see here this gray here, top 8 CO2 emitters in the world. And then we copy this one in order to set the Y label. And the Y labels is basically percentage of the world's CO2. So I will copy this one. Let's see, yeah, location, top. And you can see here it is, percentage of the world's CO2. So now we have done X label and Y label. So let's do the title as well. And similarly as before, I will just copy this one. I don't need to type it out. And since I use X percentage, I need to change it to X percentage here. And gray here as well. Okay, so here you can see a descriptive title that tells the story. So the top 3 CO2 emitters in the world stand for more than 50% of the world's total CO2 emission. So this story becomes much clearer now what this visual is. And you can see the attention focuses directly on the top 3 CO2 emitters. Also, we'll just use contrast to fade the ticks and tick params and the spines. Let us copy that also, because that's basically similar as before. And instead of X country, I will have X percentage like this. So these settings are similar to the one in the visual before. So I run this one, and you can see that they have become much weaker in color. Okay, let me see. Yeah, I set them visible to false. Oh, actually, I had it here already. I will remove this part here. Okay, what else? I think, yes. Yeah, I think I'm satisfied here. This graph is much clearer than it was before. So we started out with, if we scroll up, we started out with this one, and then moving on to this one. And now, to remove the clutter, we used contrast and using colors sparingly to actually lift out the story. So this lecture was somewhat long, but the storytelling with data, it's a lot of details, so that you may never be satisfied with your visuals, but there's some key points to note that you should work with attention. You should work with contrast, removing clutter, having descriptive labels and titles. So these are just a few out of many tips and tricks that you can use in order to make your visuals stand out and tell the story that you want, so that you can convince the stakeholders to, for example, do some investment or for just getting your message through. So this is a very important skill that I hope that you will take this with you into your career. So thank you for watching this video and see you in the next one. Bye.